I work hard, doing all that I can. I'm getting money and fans. Does that make me a man? Does that make me a man? To build a man.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Build a Man. Appreciate you all tuning in this evening. I'm sitting here with my good partner, Mr. Juan, Mr. Byron.
What's going on with you, man?
Chilling, man. So, we're just gonna talk about this, man. I mean, I've seen your growth. I've seen your progression in life, man. I knew who you were, just like you knew who I was, brother. We ain't gonna talk about them demons just yet. But men, we have to grow up someday, and obviously, like the show is called Build a Man. But I just kind of want to, share some light on, who you've become and how you progressed and all the things that you're getting into now. And we're gonna take this, this next half hour to talk about you, talk about life, talk about business and all those different things and how we can help other individuals. So
cool.
Do me a favor real quick, man. Introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll talk a little bit.
All right, sounds good. As Jermaine said, Dr. Johnson here. As he said, my name is Juan Ray, originally from Columbia, South Carolina. Went down to College of Charleston in 2007 to pursue a degree in education. That's where, I connected with Jermaine here. He was playing basketball at the time. And them boys off the chain too, man. That was a dominant team, man. That was a dominant team. But I decided that education wasn't the pathway I wanted to take, or being in the classroom. So, and then that on top of, we're talking about growth of a man, me not being mature enough to understand the opportunities I had before me. I ended up leaving in 2011, so I spent 4 years there, and then I left. And so I kind of worked and, just was out in the world trying to figure myself out. Met my wife, who was just my girlfriend at the time. And then we got together. She was pregnant with our first son, and that really started to open my eyes. Everybody knows Caleb, man. That's the apple of my eye, man. That's my little man. That's my firstborn. So that really opened my eyes, and I kind of still, worked and struggled with the idea of going back to school. Finally went back to school in 2014, back to College of Charleston. Went as a communications major, still unsure of what I wanted to do. But I knew I wanted to get my degree because there were some things that I did want to accomplish. It was, a lot that I wanted to put in place for my family. Had our second child, Jeremiah, right before I graduated in 2016. And from there, I've just been pushing, man. I worked in fatherhood. We both been in fatherhood. So we stay connected on that route. Just recently finished a tenure as a parent advocate for Charleston County School District at St. James Santee Elementary, which is out in McClellanville, South Carolina. It's a Title I school, man. I love those kids to death. Like, it was an amazing experience. I just presented at the Greenville Education and Business Summit on how to engage parents in school performance data and how to make meaningful and purposeful engagement strategies on trying to get parents excited about academic growth. So right now, and I talked to Jermaine about this a little bit, I'm focusing on social emotional development specifically for rural areas and specifically for black boys. I feel like a lot of times black boys, young black men get left out of that conversation when we talk about social emotional development. When we talk about empathy, when we talk about trauma. Everybody thinks trauma revolves around going overseas and seeing people dying or some kind of assault or something in your life. But we have neighborhoods where young men are experiencing traumatic events each and every day. But because we've celebrated it and glorified it so much in rap songs and media and different outlets, we kind of gloss over the fact that there's a lapse in social emotional development. So that's currently where I am right now. And so that's just a little bit about me and where I am in life, man.
Man, so I mean, obviously you see that this man knows a little bit about education. All right,
yeah, man, just a wee bit.
just a wee bit, man. Tell me a little bit about, where was that point in life? I know me and you talked about this the other day, but what was that point in life that you said, you know what, man, it's time. What happened? What happened that made you get there?
It's crazy because I feel like there were a lot of little points that led up to a bigger moment. So I think my first introduction to manhood was Caleb. You know, at that point, I didn't plan on having children. You know, I don't think Taj planned on having children at that moment. But when it happened, I knew, like, just how I was raised, you can't walk away from this.
Yeah.
So now you got to figure it out. I still played around. I still wasn't where I needed to be. But the most pivotal moment was actually in fatherhood. And I was sitting down talking to the great Mr. Bill Jenkins, man. William Jenkins, that's
my frat.
Yeah,
my
that's what I'm saying,
brother.
man.
Phi Beta Sigma.
Hey,
my frat brother.
It's a few Sigmas I respect, man.
Yeah.
One I'm sitting next to, you know, it's a few back in Charleston, and then Bill Jenkins is one of those top, man.
Yeah.
But I was actually, I was struggling in fatherhood, man. I think at that point I was very impatient because my ambition kind of superseded the vision of the entire organization. Yeah. So like I wanted to do some things, and I was running. And it got to the point where there was a pretty difficult time, pretty dark time. And Bill Jenkins sat me down, and I was like, man, you know, this is going wrong, and this is going wrong, and this is going wrong. And I kept feeding him excuse after excuse. And he told me, he was like, do you love what you're doing? Do you really love this? Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, I love it, but he said, no, just answer the question. Do you love what you're doing? Mm-hmm. I said, yeah, I love it, man. I love helping the fathers. I love helping the children, you know, by way of providing things for the fathers. He said, well, sometimes you got to put up with a little crap in life. Mm-hmm. He said, if you're not tough enough to put up with the crap that comes to you, you don't love what you're doing. Because if you love it, you'll put up with it. You'll get through it. And so it took that, and it took me almost losing an opportunity to realize, like, all right, excuses to the side, man. Yeah. Excuses to the side. And around that time as well, the friend of mine was, her cancer had reemerged, and shortly after she had passed away. And I remember she called me on my birthday, and I kind of felt it in the conversation when I asked her how she was doing. And she was like, I'm good. And like there was this piece where she said, I'm good. And I was like, but you know, how's it? She said, no, I'm good. Like I have no regrets. And she started just talking about how fulfilled she was in the time that she had. Mind you, she didn't make it out her 20s. Yeah. She didn't make it out her 20s, but then I got to the point where I was like, man, Mr. Jenkins has already told me that I have to man up. I cannot sit with these excuses and maintain the mindset that I have now. And then my sister Zan was pretty much just saying how much she enjoyed life, even though life was escaping her. Yeah. And when she finally went, I just, in my head, I was like, excuses to the side, bro. Yeah. You gotta go. Like, you gotta do it now. And I think that those two conversations really kind of unlocked this enlightenment, man. Yeah. It really did, man.
Isn't that's something that I mean, it was 2 points here. It's something in men that at a certain time in life it just all of a sudden clicks. Like it just happened. It's like you get that aha moment. It's like, dang, I've been doing this wrong this whole time. Exactly. And you finally get it right. I mean, that happened to me, and then which is why I'm writing this second book to talk about my life, but also to show my progression and kind of what happened to get over that hump to be who I am today.
And you probably don't remember this conversation, but you had came back. You had came to campus, man. I don't know if it was 2009. You came to campus because you came to see Evan in Charleston. And I don't know, you had to shine about yourself, man. Boy, you had this glow.
My baby put a glow on me.
I'm telling you, you had this glow, man. And I was like, bro. I was like, man, I didn't even know, like, this was a serious thing, man. Like, and you told me, you was like, bro, I'm in love. Yeah. You was like, I'm in love.
Yeah. For the camera, I'm soft. That is what it is.
No. And it wasn't on no, punk stuff and no sucker stuff. It was really like, I don't know, you just saw something that was worth working for. Yeah. And then you told me, you was like, none of that other stuff in college like that I did in years previous matters to me now. Yeah. And like I held on, those are some valuable words I held on to because it made me reevaluate even how I thought about love and relationships,
Yeah.
man. So you had,
Man, I appreciate that, man.
you had some stake in my growth, man.
Well, in between that time, man, I went through some hardships, man. I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom, brother. And you know, my wife, she did something for me that nobody else had ever did, and that was like, that's how I knew that, you know, she loved me, and that's how I knew that we were supposed to be together. Because, like I said, it was. Nobody had ever went to the length that my wife has gone for me, man. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. Like, a lot of my family couldn't do what my wife was able to do for me.
That's
you know,
man.
so I mean, and she's definitely my inspiration for me with this doctorate and going off on, you know, in this education stuff, and probably, hopefully, taking going to law school, man. You know what I'm saying? So
you done did this.
It's so much, but you know that just speaks to the testimony of what a good woman can do for a strong man. So you know, my buddy who was a guest on the show, Ivan. He talked about, you know, how women are able to help their nurturers and their growers. So what they do is they produce things. So when they speak words into you, you know, that stuff, it just helps that stuff just come out. And you
absolutely,
you feel good, man.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your wife.
Oh man, Taj is. And I wrote her a note just the other night, man. I wrote her a note just the other night because what I'm learning is sometimes you can't express verbally.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take time to, you know, write things out. But one thing that I wrote in there and that she's always been to me is she's been an inspiration and she's challenged me the most. One thing about Taj, she's very humble, very quiet. She would dread if this camera was on her. She don't like being in the public eye at all. But behind the scenes, man, she's just amazing. So she never lets anything just drift away without questioning what more you could do.
Yeah.
You know, even with, you know, our recent move to Colombia. And I said, well, you know, Taj, I want to do this and I want to do that. She said, well, have you thought about this? Well, what's going to be, when you get to this point, what's going to be your next step?
Yeah.
And she always makes me think.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she never lets me settle. It's always like, all right, you got to point A. You know B is coming, but Z is your goal. So what are you doing in between? D, E, and F, and G, like what are you doing in between? So she's always challenged me. And then she's just always been one to love me at my lowest. You know?
Lord have mercy.
I'm telling you.
What can that do for a man?
And I'm telling you, besides my mama, there's not been one woman, you know, one person really, that's really been with me at the lowest of the low. And she's seen me like in the darkest time. So when we do make it to where we going, when we make it to Canaan, she's going to be the one to celebrate with me because, you know, like you said, from the time that you met Evan until now, you've hit rock bottom. And I've been in some real grimy times. But she's just been the one to love me at my lowest, man, and she just pushes me and she just supports. I mean, even coming here, you know, some women, you know, will, hey, well, I want you to stay at home. I want you to do this. I want you. I'm like, yo, we doing the podcast today. Oh yeah, go for it. You know, do you need anything? And she's just been my rock, man. Number one fan.
So to some of the women that are watching right now, I mean, I've seen some stuff put out there before. It says it's not the woman's responsibility to fix a broken man, and I agree with that 100%. You don't need to fix a broken man, but you got the power to love that man through his brokenness.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. So I just had a conversation with some fellas about this. You know, what does it look like to be a man that's broken? What does that look like? And should you still pursue a relationship with a woman? Should a woman still pursue a relationship with you? And I feel like there's this stigma on men that if you're suffering or if you're without, you know, or if you're in some kind of deep place, then, you know, you're not good enough. You know, you're not good enough to be loved. You're not good enough to be cared for. You have the potential to hurt or harm somebody, you know, without being able to work through your demons. But like you said, it's not your responsibility to fix us, you know, because only God and that man can do that. But at the same time, you can support, you can love, you know, you can nurture, and I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, I'm not asking you to solve all my problems. I'm just asking you to hear my problems. I'm asking you to, you know, if you see a solution, offer it to me. It's on me if I act on that. You know, but you can't fix it.
You definitely can't do that. And I know for myself, what I like is I like to go into my little low place for a second, and then I like to collect my thoughts and get them all together, and then come up with a game plan for how I want to move forward. You know, so you know, we don't want to be badgered or nagged and saying you need to fix it right now. It's like give me my cave time. Like I'll tell my wife, I'm like, hold on, I need some time, I need some space, I need just hold up, let me get it together, and I'll go for my ride. I'll come back and be all in love again. You know, right over again. So I you know, it's just, you know, we deal with so much on a day to day, you know, going out in the world, you know, just with, even if we have, you know, a child from somebody else, you know, just a lot of those laws and things like that. So we go out in the world and we get beat up and beat up and beat up and beat up, and we want to come home to something solved. So.
Exactly. And I, you know, and that's what I appreciate, you know, about Taj the most. You know, with fatherhood, man, you're dealing with a lot of guys that have a lot of issues, you know, and so sometimes, you know, working in those human services capacities, you come home and you beat down because you went and you worked your tail off to help build this man up and help build this man up, but you're empty. You want somebody to pour inside of you. You know what I'm saying? I want to come home, like you said. Either I want my space so I can, you know, have my time to recoup, or you know, I want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to sit with you. You know, you rub my back and I had this conversation with you. You know what I'm saying, and get it all off. So I think we're very blessed men
Yes, Lord.
to have the wives that we have.
Yes, Lord. I know I am. I know I am.
Man, absolutely.
All right, now, well, we're going to take a quick break for a second, and then we're going to come back and continue this conversation with my man, and we're going to talk some more about some of his love, life, business, and aspirations.
I want to thank Councilwoman Tamika Isaacs Devine, first African-American woman elected to the Columbia City Council.
Committed. She is very committed to the improvement of our community.
Bold in that she's willing to talk about difficult issues.
Not only is she a leader in her community, she's a leader in her sorority. She's an excellent example of what leadership is.
I'd go anywhere, anytime to do anything for Tamika Isaac Devine.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Jermaine Johnson, and I'm excited to be bringing to you our new podcast entitled Build a Man. So we're going to be talking about all things man-related. We're going to talk about politics, business, anything that can help a man become the strong foundation that we know he's been called to be. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Build a Man. I'm just sitting here talking to my man. We're going to continue this conversation with Juan Byron Ray. We are talking about life, business, pursuit of happiness, relationship stuff, all the little things that men can utilize in order to progress in life. So we were talking about mentorship during the break, and how you don't have to be older than the individual to be their mentor. You just know a lot about a particular situation, because we know that wisdom is really just experiences in life. So, you know, he's got a particular story that he told me the other day, and I was like, man, he got to tell this story on the podcast, because individuals may be able to relate to it, and you need to see or hear you know, what type of inspiration you can be for a particular individual. So please tell us the story, brother.
So, like I told Jermaine, man, back in 2017, man, I had this one particular client. We'll call him Jay. So Jay came into fatherhood, and it was crazy because when I looked at his record, I knew his kids. And I was like, oh man, so I know this guy's his kids sound familiar, and I feel like I know all of them. So, I asked him, I said, hey man, your kids go to X, Y, and Z? He's like, yeah, those are my kids, man. So I said, okay, cool, man. I know them. I worked at a program and I did some mentoring for him. So, okay, that's cool. And so we kind of built our relationship off of that. And he came because he wanted to get a CDL. He wanted to drive trucks. And he had a little, legal issues he was trying to get some help with. And then he also was just, trying to get a job, man. He was really just trying to get his life together. But he really wasn't in the space to receive the support and networking that he needed. So that's why he came in or whatever. And now I'm 5'6". Mm-hmm. Some people say 5'3". 5'6" on a good day. Yeah. So this fella here, oh man, he was a beast. He was probably about 6'7", 6'8", had to be a good, say 330, 340. Brother was big. And so, most people would be intimidated to deal with him, and not want to really, have those tough conversations. But what I noticed was his inconsistency up front. He wasn't really coming to the meetings. He wasn't really following up with the job referrals. And I'll call him over, hey man, you missed another meet. Oh, hey Mr. Byron, I had this going on, I had that going on. I said, well, do you want more for yourself? Because I can't create it for you. You got to come get it, man. You got to work. So he would pop up and then he wouldn't pop up. He'd call me, hey man, I need some money here, I need some money there. I said, well, I can help you get employment, but I'm not going to be handing you out. So I started having to give him some tough lessons, man, up front. At the time I was 28. He's in his mid-30s. Yeah. So you would think that, he'd be the one informing me or telling me because I'm younger than him and maybe don't have the life experience. But it just shows you that being a man ain't all about your age, but it's about your mind. You know what I'm saying? Where you are mentally. So, as time goes on, man, I just noticed he wasn't really doing what he was supposed to do. So one time I just laid into him. I said, yo, you either gonna come and you gonna want better for you and your children or you not. Yeah. I said, but I can't put up with anything less than your best. So he started coming, man. He started coming pretty consistently. So we built a bond, man, and we were tight. So fast forward, it's the weekend. I'm getting ready to go to Columbia to go see my parents. At this time, I'm still in Charleston. So I'm going to pick up my kids, and my phone rings. And I see it was him. Mm-hmm. Ring, ring. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Mr. Byron, I'm in trouble. I said, what's going on, man? Hey, calm down, calm down. He's out of breath. He's panicky. I could tell, man, something terrible has either happened or it's happening right then in that moment. He said, Mr. Byron, I made a mistake. I said, okay, slow down. Just tell me the mistake you made. I robbed a bank. You robbed? You what? I just robbed a bank, man. I robbed a bank in Charleston. I won't put the street out there, but I robbed a bank in Charleston, man. They after me right now. I said, like, you just robbed a bank. Yeah, man, but I ain't have nobody else to call. I don't know nobody else, man. I messed up, Mr. Byron. You got to tell me what to do. You got to tell me what to do. So my first thought is, well, you got to get off the phone because I ain't no accomplice in this. So I said, well, look, and I kept it brief with him. I said, look, Jay, I need you to get to a safe place. All right, now and for those of you that are watching, I am a believer in Jesus Christ, and I pray and I meditate, and so I put my faith in Christ and what Christ can do. So I said, this is what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna pray, all right, and I'm gonna pray for your safety and your protection, but you need to go turn yourself in. Mm-hmm. You need to go turn yourself in. So he was like, all right, Mr. Byron, I'm gonna go X, Y, and Z. All right, boom, hangs up the phone. So I pull in, I'm in disbelief, like I can't believe it. Mm-hmm. My Live 5 app goes off. Boom, his face right there. His face right there. Anybody with information. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Authorities looking for this guy. And I see his face. I got a couple calls. I'm avoiding the calls like, nah, I don't want to talk about it right now. So I'm just in my head like, I'm just praying for him, and I really want him to get to a safe place. So I pick my kids up, go back home, pack the bags up or whatever, head to Columbia. So next day he calls me again. Oh, Mr. Byron. And he's real frantic now. And I'm like, yo, you didn't turn yourself in yet. Like, what are you doing, man? I'm in this hotel room and I hear people screaming, get out the phone, they're at the door. Boom, boom, boom. U.S. Marshals, open up. So right now, I'm like glued to my seat trying to figure out, like, I said, yo, what's going on? He was like, man, Mr. Byron, I got the U.S. Marshals at the door, and either I'm gonna take, he said, I got my peace with me, either I'm gonna take myself out, because I'm not going to prison, or I'm gonna take them out. It's gonna be a shootout. And I'm trying to process all this, because I'm like, so you just robbed the bank yesterday, U.S. Marshals at your door today, and you called me. You know what I'm saying? You called little old case manager Byron Ray. You know what I'm saying? So I hear his mom in the background. You need to get off the phone. You need to get off the phone right now. U.S. Marshals, open the door. We'll open the door. And so he's like, I'm on the phone with my counselor. I'm talking to my counselor. And like those words, like really like resonated with me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like he expects some sort, like there's some substance he wants from this. Something. I said, all right, Clay, I want you to listen. Yes, sir, I'm listening, Mr. Byron. Mind you, I told you, this guy is like 35, 36 years old. Yes, sir, Mr. Byron, I'm listening. I said, okay. You need to go with them in peace. I said, I know your kids. If you want a chance to ever be a father again, I said, you got right, if you shoot it out with them, you have a 0% chance of being a father again. Yeah. If you take yourself out, you have a 0% chance of being a father again. But if you go in peace, you at least have a slight chance of rectifying your situation and being a father for your children. Give yourself a chance, give your kids a chance. Mind you, his sister and mama still screaming, U.S. Marshals still banging on the door, but for some reason God paused time and nothing else to happen for us to have that exchange.
Yeah.
I said, when you get to where you're going, give me a call, all right? I said, but I need you to go with them in peace, brother. I said, I need you alive for them. All right, Mr. Byron. All right, you right. Man, I love you, Mr. Byron. All right, just go with them. Hang the phone up. And right now, I'm just shocked, like, trying to figure out, like, is this really happening? And then I'll go to my Live 5 app. Not 15 minutes after we hung up, suspect in robbery has been taken, no incident.
Man.
And like it just it blew my mind. I went to go tell my dad, and my dad had the same look that I had, like after I told him the story. And it was just like, this guy was down bad.
Yeah.
He was down bad, and like the only thing he knew was, I'm about to go get this money.
Yeah.
Any way that I can. But then it was, for me, it was like, he invested so much faith in me that he called me at his lowest time, man. And to this day, you know, if I don't accomplish anything else, that's one of the stories that I'll always take with me, man, because I feel like it was so fulfilling, man.
Yeah, can you imagine like somebody being like somebody else, if he would have called somebody else, and somebody else who kind of had the little devil on their shoulder, they could have been like, bro, listen, you can shoot your way out of there.
Exactly.
Can you imagine, like, you know, what could have transpired in that situation?
Exactly.
He could have got killed, his sister could have got killed, his mom could have got killed, all of it could have got
they
killed.
in a hotel room,
Yeah.
so you only got one way out.
A couple police officers could have got killed. I mean, anything could have you know, gone bad that way. But individual who was younger than this gentleman was able to, you know, talk to him and be that listening ear for him, but also to be that voice of reason and let him know, like, listen, you know, your family needs you, your children need you, they need a role model, they need you to learn from your mistakes and grow from this and come on back to be in their life. So I mean that's just a big story right there, man. That's a testament right there. In order for us to you know, progress, man.
Yeah, man.
So tell me what's next for you, man.
So, you know, and a lot of it stems from the conversation we had the other day. I'm in a place, man, where I can kind of go in different directions. But I think, you know, I'm ready to create that opportunity for myself, man. I'm not done with, you know, working for someone else, but my focus is more of working for me, for my family, for my vision, for my goals. So right now I do want to take my social emotional development concepts coupled with some preventative healthcare ideas I have and some economic growth ideas, and I want to start moving that throughout Columbia with the right guidance and mentorship. But I'm ready to create my own lane, man.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I had to do. So in my own particular situation, I couldn't find a job for a long time. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. I couldn't find a job. I'm like, I got a degree and all type of stuff.
Exactly.
I can't get a job.
Start feeling ripped off, paying all that money for that degree, man. Golly.
I can't get a job, man. I think I might have matter of fact, I had my master's degree at that point. I had a master's degree and I could not get a job. Wow. I couldn't find nothing, couldn't get nothing. I was like, man, this is crazy. So when I couldn't do that, I said, you know what? I'll create my own job.
Yeah.
And created my own job. And once I created my own job opportunities started coming my way.
Yeah.
It was like,
man.
It was like, man, that's crazy. So you create but that's good. So you can create your own lane.
Yeah.
But in creating your own lane, you create partners in the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can help you grow, help you grow your business and all that, man. So we definitely want to get you involved with some more education. So I'm gonna have you come talk to one of my classes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At Webster, man. Since I'm an adjunct professor over there, so hey, come talk.
I'd love to.
Come talk to them grown folk over there. Man.
Yeah, I would love to, man. I would love to.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Are we still doing the podcast stuff? The Real Dad.
Shout out to my man Cardell, man. So I guess they're on a hiatus. I've been looking the past few Thursdays, man. But Real Husbands of CFC was definitely, for the couple months we did do it. It was fun. I would love for it to, grow into something because it really hinges upon this idea, you know, about men, specifically black men, coming together, talking about their growth, talking about where they were then, where they are now. So I reached out to Cardell, but I need to see if he's still gonna do it, man. But yeah, I would love for it to extend, man. That conversation to extend into Columbia and statewide, nationwide, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, so me and Byron, obviously we went to College of Charleston together. It was a PWI,
right?
But it was not. I have to say I didn't with the small groups that we had of black folk. I don't think I lacked a black person experience.
Oh, yeah, every experience. People often say, "Oh, y'all should have came to HBCU." Listen, we was a little HBCU junior, man. Like we had when Swag Surf came out, we was just as crunk as State, just as crunk as Howard. Like
Wipe Me Down,
all of that. The Toucan Night, shout out to Tantrum. Like, hey,
my boy Tantrum.
And now I do not regret going to College of Charleston.
Yeah, man. What was it? The Roy. Yeah, boy, we had.
Oh my God, man! And I feel like even Greek life, man, it was like healthy competition. You know what I'm saying? Like we would rag on each other. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we knew we were what, like 6%.
Yeah, I think
minority.
6%, 6 point something
of the and this is a 10,000 student campus, man.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience. So we're gonna pick that podcast back up, man. It was a good idea.
Yeah. We've had some good times down there, man. But I appreciate you coming on out here and talking to me,
man.
brother.
My pleasure, bro. Anytime, man.
Love. And so everybody, I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Build a Man. I hope y'all got some tidbits of information on life and progression and who you can be to who you will end up actually becoming. So hopefully y'all tune in to another episode of Build a Man. Thank y'all for watching.